Hi, I'm Aaron with Superior Singing Method, and this is Most Common Singing Mistake, How to Sing Better. Okay, welcome back. This is Most Common Singing Mistake, How to Sing Better, and this is my first video, at least at the time of filming this, while in quarantine. I'm not in a studio, I'm actually at my house, so I'm excited. Let's do this. I've got a couple of cats in this room, so you may end up hearing the cats. I mean, any number of things can happen. A motorcycle might drive by. The sky is the limit on possible things that are going to interrupt this video. But it doesn't matter because we're going to learn what is our most common singing mistake. Maybe not the most common singing mistake, but this is really high up there on the list of a common singing mistake that if you can figure this out, it's really going to help you a lot. Okay, so this particular one is one that I can still struggle with if I'm not careful, if I'm not thinking about it. And which reminds me, I do want to say that you're not thinking while you're singing. I mean, you are, but technically you're not thinking about your singing while you're singing. And maybe you are. Maybe you're like, no, I totally do. My point is, we don't want to be thinking about our singing while we're singing. We just want to sing freely, right? And this becomes a left brain, right brain kind of conversation. If we're thinking and judging and criticizing our singing while we're singing, we're in our left brain. We don't want to be in our left brain because that's just all the critical and all the technical and all that kind of stuff. We want to only be in that area while we're doing our exercises, which is why it's really important to do our exercise so we can work on all the technicals and all that while we're doing our exercises. So then when we sing, we can be in our right brain, which our right brain is just free flowing. It's not critical. It's artistic. It's creative. It's all those kind of things. That's where we want to be. So it's so important to do our exercises on a regular basis so that we can work on our technique. Because what will happen is as we're working on the exercises and these different techniques during the time of our exercise, it is going to raise the level of our singing. It's going to raise the worst possible singing that we can do. Does that make sense? Here's what I mean. It means that the more we do our exercises, let's say like our worst is somewhere around here right now. This is as bad as our singing can possibly be. And then our best is, whatever, somewhere up here. If we're here, as we do our singing exercises, the bottom, the worst possible singing we can do, begins to raise up as we do our exercises. So then at some point, as we're doing our exercises and practicing on a regular basis, the worst we could do is somewhere up here. It's actually really, really, really good. And eventually the worst we can do is like excellent, professional as we're doing exercise on a regular basis. That's why it's so important to do these exercises on a regular basis. Okay, so here we go. Let's jump right in. So one of the most common singing mistakes is a raised larynx. This is the larynx is actually my Adam's apple, but in there, basically housed behind there, is our larynx. And when we sing, especially during high notes, see, that's when we raise our larynx, it comes up and it really affects our singing in just about every way. Our tone suffers. It's harder to sing our notes. It's certainly harder to sing higher notes, but it's harder to stay on pitch when the larynx is up that high, because what happens is when our larynx raises up, it begins to close our throat. It closes our throat, and so normally when we're singing high notes and a raised larynx, the notes begin to go flat. Like when we're singing off key, it's usually flat because of lack of air and lack of air flow. So we don't want to be, so we want to keep, the idea is to keep a steady larynx. We don't want to have it like really low either, right? This is a low larynx. Hi, this is a low larynx. We're not necessarily looking for that. We're looking for a steady larynx somewhere around here. Now, to be fair, it will never stay completely steady because as you sing higher notes, it's going to want to raise up, and lower notes, it's going to want to go down. But we're wanting to keep it within, a steady-ish range and not be super high and not be super low. So I've got a couple of tricks for you to help keep a steady larynx. Now, the first one is adding in like a or like a duh kind of sound into basically any exercise. Like for example, one common exercise is lip rolls, right? Lip rolls. You can do two hands right here, lift up the cheeks. Now what we can do in an exercise like this is we can add a little bit of that duh sound. And that sound is going to raise the larynx, it's going to lower the larynx a little more than we want to, right? We're not going to actually sing with it that low, but it's going to help us be able to control or get some sense of control of where that larynx is going to be when we add a little bit of that. So for it's like adding just a little bit of the duh sound to help keep that steady. All right. And another fun trick, try that. I know it sounds a little confusing, but it's a little easier than it probably sounds. You can't hear it when I'm doing the, but underneath that, I'm doing the at least the feeling and the shape in the back of my throat and mouth of what the duh creates. Okay. So try that. You can do that. And then the second one is a yawn. So notice like when I yawn, so it's like, it really lowers the larynx. Now you're not going to be yawning when you're singing, right? Of course, you're not going to yawn while you sing, but you can add in, again, that shape and that feeling in your throat when you're doing your exercises so that when you're actually singing, you will know and have more control and get a feel for what it feels like to have a steadier larynx. So for example, let's say like nay, 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 another kind of common exercise. If you add a little bit of a yawn in there, and this is going to be weird and it's not perfect, but adding like the idea of a yawn, so like yawn like nay, 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 nay. Nay, 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 nay. Just adding so that it's not an actual yawn, but it's that shape inside. So you could try either one of those or both of those, and that's going to help keep your larynx steady and a little bit lowered while you're doing your exercises so that and you're thinking about it right now, you're thinking about it and, am I doing that right? Am I doing that? That's great. All that's fine while you're doing your exercise, but then when you sing, let it be all right brain. Don't let that critical, analytical side of your brain take over. Just sing and enjoy yourself and trust that because you've been doing your exercises on a regular basis, they are going to naturally show up in your singing and help you to become a better singer. Because they are, but we don't always notice that because we hear our voice all the time. We're like, am I improving? I don't know, am I? So anyway, try these exercises, keep that larynx steady. But before you go, I have created a quiz that's free for you if you click the link below, and this is going to help you find what your personal #1 singing killer is. There's just a handful of these singing killers, and here's why it's so important to find out what yours is. Because whatever your #1 singing killer is, it's becoming a bottleneck and blocking other possible things that would help your singing. Those aren't helping because we got to get this thing out of the way first. And so, to find out what your #1 singing killer is, click the link below. I've created a quiz, going to take about 30 seconds. So take the quiz, and here's even better news. Once you take the quiz, I'm going to send you, whatever we find out what your #1 singing killer is from the quiz, I'm going to send you another free video, and that free video is going to help fix what your #1 singing killer is. Tailor-made to you specifically, find out what your #1 singing killer is, and it's going to help you fix it. And this is so great because once you have that #1 singing killer, once you get that fixed, it will begin allowing your voice to blossom and to skyrocket in the way that it was meant to be. So click the link below, take the quiz, and then, once you find out what your singing killer is, I'll send you that other free video to help fix it, and then we'll just go from there. And I've got a million exercises on YouTube and, of course, my Superior Singing Method program. But for now, let's work on this that we worked on, these exercises we got today, and take that quiz right now, and then we'll just take it from there. There's a lot more we can do, but for now, let's just do this one small thing. We're all just sitting here at home, right? Or at least right now while I'm filming this video, we're here in quarantine, the stay at home, stay safe thing. So what better time to work on your singing, right? So let's do it together. So click the link below, take the quiz, get your free video after you take the quiz, and fix that #1 singing killer. Okay? Click the link below. I'll see you on the other side.